Well, we meet again. Welcome to another fine edition of the No Life Digital Podcast. Hello, everyone. No Life Digital. Head over to our Spotify, our Apple Podcast page. Give us a follow. Give us a subscribe if you want to hear all about the latest gaming, tech, news, culture. Today, not too much in the world of gaming, but we're going to talk about Resident Evil. I've been playing it. We're going to talk about some new Sony IPs. We're going to talk about the Stadia interview, about how Google is stating Stadia is alive and well. We're going to talk about Apple v. Epic and Apple. And we're going to take a look at this video that Intel posted that shows how they're using AI to enhance GTA 5 to make it look fucking like a dash cam. It's actually pretty fucking cool. And then whatever else we talk about. So, let's get into it. What's up, my dudes?
Is that coming out for GTA 6 this year?
I hope so. This year?
Isn't that what all the... Well, no, isn't all the rumors that we're going to hear GTA 6? That's what I've seen everywhere, and I doubt it's going to happen.
We'll see GTA 6, and we'll see Metroid Prime 4, and we'll see Bayonetta 3.
Yeah,
and
Half-Life 4 and Half-Life 6, yeah. No.
We'll see GTA 6 once shark cards are finally dead, which is never.
I would love to see GTA 6. That would be nice. I don't have to see a release, but I would like to see what it would look like.
Yeah.
I love GTA.
I'd also
I would say GTA is
online, like, be playable.
I would probably say GTA is probably my most next to the I don't really like the Witcher franchise. I really only like Witcher 3. So I'd say GTA, the whole franchise, is probably one of my most memorable franchises. Like, I loved every GTA. I don't think there's been a bad one. Maybe GTA 2? GTA 2 is kind of weird. All right, anyways.
My hot take, 4 was better than 5.
Not a hot take. That's actually...
I don't know if it was a hot take, but I think 4 was the peak.
Yeah, like Nico Bellic and all them, right?
Yeah. Dude.
Like, it was way more grounded in reality and like, yeah.
It's a better setting, in my opinion. I'm not
Yeah.
the biggest LA, like, Los Santos fan.
Yeah, same.
Just, hanging out with your cousin every 5 minutes.
The story was more interesting.
Take 5 steps to get a phone call.
But also,
it's a cousin.
That was the first time we got to see that. I forget the name of their engine, like that endorphin engine, where you hit someone with your car and they like realistically react to it. And there was nothing better than just fucking flying down a sidewalk and just nailing people. So we haven't seen that engine in reality until I forget the name of it. I think it's called Endorphin, but yeah, GTA 4 was fucking. They're all so good, man. It's such a good franchise. I like Vice City. I think Vice City might be my favorite. I love the Tommy Vercetti story. I like the Scarface stuff. All right. Anyways, I agree. I think
San Andreas is my favorite.
Yeah, I would say like the Los Santos, San Andreas, and
I haven't.
I'm not the biggest. I don't like the LA setting that much.
I own 5, but I haven't played it much. But one of my things with San Andreas was that it was. You had Vegas, you had LA, and then you also had like the wild amounts of desert and
yeah.
There was a good variety of areas in San Andreas.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of why like GTA 5 was so sick. Those characters were pretty insane. Anyways, we could talk.
Yeah, but I think it made it too insane.
Yeah, it was definitely fucking out there for sure.
Like once you get to the point of you're playing Trevor, you're just kind of like,
yeah,
cool. I'm playing GTA. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. I liked it. I did love
like,
that story. I did love that story. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was pretty good.
It's alright, but it was just like I don't know. I liked 4 more just because it's like okay, you could choose to be the crazy instead of just like no, you play crazy, so you're crazy.
Yeah.
That felt like forced to me.
Well, because 4 was definitely like the Liberty City stuff is definitely more grounded and like like actual because like I don't know, you could kind of go both ways. It was definitely more of like an action movie with number 5. But speaking of action movie, Resident Evil Village. Let's talk about Resident Evil Village. Have you guys played it? No, I'm assuming not.
I have not, but I have watched a couple playthroughs from people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about as far as I'll go with Resident Evil now these days. It's just not
I'm not a
my type of
hard
game.
game guy, really.
I'm not a first
Well,
person adventure game guy
well, all right.
or single
Horror.
player.
So this is definitely more like we were talking before the show. This is definitely more traditional horror in the sense of like lichens, werewolves, Dracula. I'm going to suck your blood. You know what I mean? Like that. To me, it kind of is devoid of a lot of like truly scary things and puts it in place with more like medieval style horror, and this is definitely much more of like an action oriented style.
It's Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, it's definitely more action oriented. There's a lot more ammo that you can find. There's a lot of crafting you can do to make ammo. You're never really starved for resources.
It's RE4 in first person.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing. Like RE4 rocked.
I mean, they're making a remake of RE4.
Yeah, RE4 was awesome, and it is cool. It's just I like in the first person. I loved Village because it was scary, like the cult scene, the just everything about Village. I thought was like, all right, this is some good horror. There's a lot of like sort of like psychological horror going on. It wasn't just like action, fucking bats flying around and werewolves and like not that scary stuff. But at the end of the day, it's still Resident Evil, so you're still getting like the puzzle solving mechanics. There is somewhat of like resource management going on, and there is like some good scares in there, from time to time. It's not I wouldn't call it a scary game. It's definitely more of an action game, but it's still Resident Evil, so you're still gonna get some scary stuff. Overall, I've been liking it. I think I've gotten to like, about halfway through, maybe 2/3 of the way through. And the story is pretty interesting. I will say the plot armor around Ethan Winters is getting a little thick. The fact that they just do what they. I mean, I'm gonna spoil a little bit here. You've probably seen it online. You won't really know too much if I spoil it, but there's parts. There's a part in here where like he gets his hand chopped off again, and he just puts it back on, and I just don't like this plot armor of like. Then what the fuck is the point of herbs? Like, why do I need to heal? Why can't I just like go somewhere and just heal up for a little bit? I don't like this whole like, there's another part where I'm not gonna spoil it, but there's another part where he gets like viciously attacked and he just doesn't die, and it's just kind of like, all right, this is getting a little bit. It's starting to become a little bit devoid of what makes Resident Evil scary, which is like you're low on health, your health bar is blinking red, you're limping around, and you have to get by some of these like really terrifying monsters that can take you out. That doesn't really happen in this one. This one is just like there's tons of herbs everywhere, there's tons of ammo. You're gonna be shooting through. It's fun. The puzzle solving is still fun. It's very kind of like, it makes you think for like 2 seconds. It's not like some intense puzzle solving, but there is puzzle solving. And the story is pretty interesting. You are going through Ethan Winters' story, this guy who is unfortunately the most tortured man on the planet. But at the end of the day, if you like Resident Evil, you'll probably like this one. I love Resident Evil, probably like, up there with GTA, with some of my favorite franchises. I've played almost every single one, and I've been having a good time with this one. I do want to finish it. Like, there's been no point where I'm like, I don't want to play this because I like Resident Evil. I just wish it was more scary. That's my big. I wish they kind of like played up like that horror the part that makes Resident Evil good, which is like I was saying, like, you get hit by a fucking monster. Oh shit, you're blinking red. You don't have any herbs. You have to go to this room because you saw this one crafting solve and you have to go get it. But there's this like really terrifying monster there that you have to try to get past. You don't have much ammo, so you can't blast through them. Like that to me is like what really makes Resident Evil good, and that's where like the scare comes into play. And when you have like a really good horror aesthetic, like a Biohazard, it just kind of amplifies that. With this one, it's just like, all right, not too. I don't know. I just don't find this setting to be very scary. Maybe some people do. I guess some people do because it's been very popular in horror culture for a long time. Unfortunately, I just think it's kind of fantasy driven. I don't know. I don't think that stuff is too scary, but I don't know. Maybe you do. Overall, pretty good. I've been enjoying it. And we'll see kind of how it finishes off. It's not a very long game, I don't think. I don't know the total hours to finish it, but it's not too long. It's a Resident Evil.
What difficulty are you playing on?
Hard, playing on the hard difficulty.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I
you're
think it'll
still
take,
getting like a
10 to
lot.
12 hours for that.
Yeah, you're still getting like a lot of like ammo too. So it's not. It hasn't been too hard at all. You know, it's just they're a little bit more powerful, right? You're gonna die a couple more times. That's about it. That's about all I have on it. So you can see this guy like. You know, they try to make them scary, but it's like he's a lichen. I don't know. It's like not very terrifying. There are some cool characters though. I will say that like these fantasy settings do allow like a really interesting like character development in terms of like the people that you meet and like the monsters that you meet. That's kind of cool. I guess that's kind of why they do it, because there's a lot of creative freedom that you can get with like some of the villains. Like everyone's seen like I forget her name, but the big woman, and then
Lady D something.
yeah, it's not. I forget her name.
The one they marketed the whole game around, despite the spoiler warning, fact that she's in it for maybe like the first fourth of the game, and that's it.
Yeah, she's like the first boss, I guess you would say, sort of.
And I guarantee you, the Resident Evil team, the Capcom team for marketing, was not planning on making her the sole focus of marketing until everyone was super thirsty for her.
Yeah.
And then they, on the fly, probably went, all right, we got to push this. And it was smart for them to do that.
Yeah. Oh, for
But
sure.
I imagine there's a lot of people who are like, get to that point of the game, beat her and go, wait, but what's more? This is all I know is big, thirsty, big lady.
Yeah, I mean that's all she really is. Well, there's a little bit to her. She has some sisters that you have to kind of deal with, which are pretty interesting. And there's a certain mechanic that's used to kind of there's always like a mechanic you have to figure out how to kill these people, which is always fun. But yeah, not terribly difficult, not terribly scary. Action oriented though. If you like just shooting stuff, then you'll probably like this one. I would also recommend like the PS5 is fine, but like, you know, it's a first person, so you know, playing an FPS on PC and then going to PS5 is always jarring. So you might, if you have a good PC, you might want to just get it on PC, because PS5 it's, you know, you're using a controller. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, that's all I have on Resident Evil Village. I wish these were a little longer, to be honest. Also, 10 hours, 10, 12 hours is like, what was the other one? What was the one after the 2 remake? That one was like fucking 4 hours.
RE3 remake.
Yeah, that was like a 4-hour game.
To be fair, anybody who doesn't remember, the original RE3 was also very short.
Yeah.
Compared to original 2, original 3, it was, I don't want to say a cash grab, but they really pumped out that sequel extremely fast. Reused a lot of assets.
They did it again.
And made it a very short game just to sell. And you know what it did? It sold.
Yeah.
RE3 was a very good seller.
I'm not opposed to short games.
Very short game.
I'm not opposed to short games, but I think like 4 hours is like, I don't even think it was 4 hours. I think it was like as long as like a fucking, you know, Tarantino movie. Like it was like
they're gonna go from RE3 remake. They go to Resident Evil Village, and they're making the RE4 remake. But where's my Code Veronica remake?
Oh, you're definitely get a Code Veronica. There's
I
no way
feel
they're
Code
not
Veronica
gonna milk
is,
that one.
Nah, that game is. It's nowhere near as like. I don't know. It's one of those games. It's like, because it's not a number title.
No, it doesn't matter. Too many questionable people really like that game.
Why? Why questionable? Is there something about it that I'm missing?
It's not the most well received game.
I thought it was fucking awesome. I like all the Resident Evils though.
When we played it, because I played it with like, it was one of those games that like you and your friends kind of play together when you're a kid.
Yeah.
On our buddy's Dreamcast.
Yes, it was on Dreamcast, right? Yeah.
That was Veronica X, I think, was because that was like the port version of it.
Dreamcast.
I don't know. I'm just kind of happy I never was into Resident Evil. It's never been my style of game. Resident Evil's always been like, Resident Evil makes me miss Blockbuster. Because like Resident Evil to me is like, oh yeah, it's a really great game to just go rent for 2 days and never fucking touch again.
Yeah, that's essentially it's like you're watching a movie, but obviously you know there's games and there's puzzles, but it's never been like good.
I don't hold RE like Resident Evil in like its biggest regard, but it has those like moments.
Yeah.
There's some of the most important gaming moments. Like I remember, I'll always remember where I was when you play RE2 for the first time and you come across your first liquor
Yeah.
in that hallway, and that's a vivid memory.
Or you're walking in Resident Evil 1 and the dogs fucking jump out the window and you're like, yeah, there's for sure. Yeah. And it's like, I also think like, cause I'm a huge horror film fan. Like there's just not that many good horror games on games. There's just not like when it comes to like, you know, horror movies, like there's like so many and there's so many good ones. And there, you know, there's all different sorts of like subgenres of horror.
There's a lot of horror games.
Yeah, but they're all like
There's
fucking
not a lot
stupid
of
like walking
good
sims.
horror games.
Yeah. Resident Evil is like consistently, at least they're consistently like high budget. You're going to get a good story. You're going to get some awesome like, you know, voicing. You're going to get some good scares. It's always like a good top tier horror film.
Silent Hill was like the competitor to RE. Like when Konami and Capcom were going back and forth.
Yeah, Silent Hill.
Like Resident Evil would come out, then a Silent Hill would come out.
Yeah. But it wasn't ever
now,
really as scary
I mean,
as I don't think as
what's there now? There's your jump scare games like Five Nights at Freddy's. You've got your kind of, I don't say walking simulators, but like Bendy and the Ink Machine is one of those kind of like walking simulators.
Yeah, they're like
really.
walking
You've got
simulators.
Amnesia, which is
Yeah.
much less action. It's more just walking sim.
Yeah, I don't like any of those horror games. I haven't played many of them, but I have played Amnesia.
There's some cool ones with some cool narratives, but at the end of it, it's
A lot of them are
more
just walking
an
sims.
interactive movie than a game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with these types of like horror games, I think, you know, you need a pretty decent budget to make something like at the level of Resident Evil, and I wish that we kind of had more. I wish you just had more horror games, to be honest, just in general, in the vein of Resident Evil, less so in the vein of like a walking sim. I just don't find them very interesting. I'd rather just watch a movie at that point.
I mean, I think that's part of the problem, though, is why you don't have a lot of good ones. Is just like, I don't know, it's a very overused trope, so to say. Like, how are you going to make an interesting, scary action game that hasn't already been done?
Yeah.
Or like isn't expected? Like that's what eventually killed a lot of horror movies for me, was just like, oh, this is gonna happen. Oh, it happened. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like in the horror.
It's
like
it's
films.
a hard genre to be really creative with.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of like reusing of, you know, plots and ideas in horror. You're really I mean, I think a lot of it too is like you just kind of want to. I don't know. For me at least, what I really like about horror is like I kind of do like the indie stuff, but I like to see kind of how they stretch their budgets and like how do you make something scary without having like millions of dollars. You could do like, you know, some like get some good actors or get some good fucking CG work or whatever. It's like, you know, can you actually make this scary with a limited budget? And, you know, a lot of them can. And it's like, I don't think we've seen that very much in gaming, at least in my opinion. I just, I don't know. I don't think anything has really come close to like, I thought Biohazard was really great. And this one is like pretty good too, but it's just not scary. I wish this one was just scarier overall. I don't want you guys to watch this because there's kind of a spoiler here, so we're just gonna skip this one. All right, moving on.
Just need Kojima to start making games that isn't walking sims again.
Oh man, a Kojima horror like PT? Wasn't he doing that? I don't remember. All right. Sony has 25 first-party PS5 games in the works, and half of those are new IPs.
The other half are remakes.
The other half are going to be remakes or sequels. We don't really know if they're remakes or sequels, but
Xbox has 5.
So at least we're going to get a bunch of new IPs, brand new IPs from PlayStation, and we'll probably get a bunch of like sequels from Sony. I would say maybe 1/3 are remakes. I wouldn't bet on that. I don't think that they really want. I don't know. This is at gameindustry.biz, so maybe they are talking heavily about like
What
just like
was
finances.
the best new IP they introduced last year or last gen?
I'd say Horizon was the best one.
I would agree with that.
Horizon fucking rocked. What else did they introduce? I'm trying to remember.
Ghost of Tsushima, if they want to continue that as a line
Ghost
with
was
an
rad.
IP.
Ghost was rad, but it is like an Assassin's
Spider-Man
Creed.
remake, like the revamp of Spider-Man.
I mean, it's
Not really new IP
new
though.
IP though.
Yeah.
It's based
Yeah,
on an
but
IP.
like yeah, but I
But
mean,
if we're talking first
I
in
would
a
consider the
series,
new gen
yes.
Spider-Man games their own kind of IP
Sure.
because they are vastly different.
Yeah, and
I
they
can- yeah,
they
I
are
can agree
rad.
with that.
They are pretty rad.
I still need to play Miles. Actually, now that I own a PS5.
Oh, I have to
really should
finish
play
Miles. I haven't. I mean, it's just more Spider. It's not really.
And that's
I kind of
my
want more
problem
Spider-Man
with,
though.
Yeah. Then you'll like.
that's my problem with the PS5 launching with only that game where, yes, it's been 6 months and you guys haven't even finished it.
I know. I haven't.
I haven't even bought it yet.
I haven't even fucking went back to
And
touch
if you
it.
want, you can get it on the PS4.
Well, to be fair, if I wasn't fucking massively addicted to Path of Exile, I probably would have finished it. But I just see no reason to play any other game right now.
I mean, I'm always down for new IP. I mean, new IP is good.
Well, all right. So we have Horizon.
But I think there is some validity to my worries of, yeah, it could have be remakes because I mean, okay, so we've had Miles Morales, which is
a sequel, technically, or
a
expansion.
Sequel, so
It's more of an expansion than a sequel, but yeah.
right. So you have so an expansion, that's your big first one, and a remake. Then there's been
Returnal is probably
Returnal. That's
the best.
new.
It's probably the only and best.
And now Mass Effect is coming out a remake.
That's it.
Yeah.
Is that it?
And apparently, God of War is being delayed, according to Schreier.
Oh no!
I'm just saying.
Horizon's
we're
still
like
on the docket
2 for
though,
2.
but God of War is getting
So
is apparently
Horizon
getting
this
delayed.
year, isn't that what the rumor was?
I believe that's the case.
End of year, maybe.
I would imagine. Like,
It's gonna.
I
Get
would not be
delayed.
surprised if that's
It's gonna
like
get
your
delayed.
November.
It's gonna get delayed.
If
gonna
it is
be
coming, that would be your November title to push consoles and push like.
It's gonna get delayed. There's no way.
It's starting to almost feel like this PS5 is just the soft launch, and we're just waiting for Horizon
Yes.
or something for the hard launch.
Oh, for sure,
Yes.
for sure. Anyone who bought a PS5.
This is what I told you all like 8 months ago.
Anyone
Why
who
not
bought
to buy one.
Anyone who bought a PS5,
It's-
there's no reason to buy one now. And if you can't get one, there's no reason to get one. You know what I mean? If you can
guys
get
all
one and you're gonna
decided-
buy
It's a
one
shame.
anyway, you
It's a
might as
shame,
well
'cause
get
even,
it.
Like, even the
Fair,
Switch had
fair.
even the Switch had a soft launch, but at least they put out like the one must-have IP like with it.
Yeah.
True, but
PlayStation didn't have
my
that.
concern of like
They just
yeah,
pumped
okay,
the console out with
consoles
no
always,
games.
Consoles always take a year, and then on both of them, with both of the new consoles, you guys are. I'm
Oh.
not saying just you guys. I'm saying like people in general are like, oh yeah, it was Christmas. Like everyone's got to buy an $800 PS5 in a fucking pandemic.
fair-
When any game that is actually worth playing on that fucking console is going to be delayed another 2 years because of the pandemic.
To
Yeah.
be fair, I don't even know if you can get a PS5 even in a couple months. There's
No.
You can't get anything.
It's still delayed.
You can't get
Oh,
any.
you
Actually,
can get anything if you're willing to pay a price for it.
Oh right.
well,
now,
no, I don't want to say I don't factor in like paying a scalper's fee or anything like that. Like if you're doing that, you're just out of your mind. If you just have money to burn, then have at it. But you're out of your mind if
Right
you're doing
now,
that.
the only way to get an Xbox at the moment is you have to join the Xbox insiders and basically already own Game Pass.
Wait, you can't even
to
get an
be offered.
Xbox?
Oh no, they're even got still
There, I
sold out.
believe is there like a giant chip shortage happening right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's affecting all electronics. It's not so much a chip shortage. There's a minor chip shortage. It's more there's a massive lithium shortage.
There's a lithium
Okay.
shortage. Yeah. There's everything shortage. There's a gas shortage. There's a chlorine shortage. There's everything short now. Everyone's just because everyone's coming back on, so everyone wants it all. So
And we're still also dealing with
you were probably able to get a PS5 easier at launch than you probably are now, I would say. And
Yeah.
now you're really fucked. And the same goes for GPU. So actually, if you were an early adopter, you probably
GPUs are still
lucked out.
yeah.
Yeah, because
GPUs are going to be non-existent for a while, especially because of that lithium shortage.
yeah,
But
you're
then
just
we're
fucked.
still also dealing with the tariffs because
Yeah.
the tariffs still aren't completely gone.
Yeah, it's all fucked right now. So, I mean, you're just. It sucks too because it's like you're in that crossover phase. Like a lot of people want to upgrade their GPUs. They want to upgrade to the new stuff. There isn't much to do with it, but you're at that point where it's like, all right, we're kind of long in the tooth on that last gen of like, you know, the 10 series cards. Maybe a lot of people are still on like 9 series cards. And then you have, of course, the PS4s, and you know a lot of those people with PS4s and Xboxes. You probably don't even have PS4 Pros, which is like, you know, let alone even the new ones. So
it's everything. The 20 series is selling at like an all-time high now.
yeah, which is crazy. Like, definitely don't buy a 20 series.
I could literally sell my 20 series right now on eBay for like twice the price I bought it at.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. The market's it's nuts.
And it's a shit card.
Yeah, do not buy a 20 series. Do not. Especially at like full. You're crazy. All right, but yeah, so.
Oh no, they're going over full price. The only cards I've been able to find with any regularity are either really old 710s, which you should never ever fucking touch. That card is fucking 12 years old basically at this point. And it was already a budget card, or a Quattro 4000.
How much are those?
$1,000. And that's actually probably your best bet. Is probably the Quattro. those you can find easy for some reason. For some reason, specifically Quattro 4000s, find them everywhere. That's it.
Really?
So even if you can't get a PS5, you can at least get one of their new controllers. Did you see the new controller colors they released?
Yeah, let me bring up a picture.
There's Cosmic Red and Midnight Black.
Yeah. So
I don't like the red. I don't. It looks more like magenta than red.
It might just be that with the way they showed the image with that background, it kind of highlights. I mean, it kind of looks like Spider-Man. I like the black one. I'll probably.
I do like the black one. I'm just waiting for a blue or a purple. I do want to get a second controller.
A purple
because
one?
The battery life is shit. Yeah, purple.
The battery life on your PS5 controller?
Purple would look sick. Battery life on the PS5 controller, it's just like the PS4 controller. It's not that long.
Really? Mine has been pretty good. Mine hasn't been too. I haven't noticed it. I definitely think it's longer than the PS4.
10 hours max?
The PS4 is terrible. I mean, mine I had to charge like every time I put it down, I have to charge it.
Yeah, if I do two full, like when I was playing Yakuza Like a Dragon, I did 2 full streams of like 3 to 4 hours. I had to definitely charge it before that third stream. It wouldn't be dead, but it might die during that third stream.
All right, so here is a thread from Reddit talking about new IPs from Sony. Let's see here. And this is from 2 years ago, so there's probably missing a bunch, but like Spider-Man, they're saying Spider-Man. Days Gone is one, Ghost of Tsushima.
Days Gone just got released on PC as well, just joining that Horizon Zero Dawn to the PlayStation exclusive IPs that are eventually hitting PC like 4 years later.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. I was trying to look it up quicker. Okay, the only graphics card you can currently buy is Quattro 4000 for $100. It's a pretty great Quattro card, but if you're trying to do gaming, it's literally worse than Vega 64.
Oh, well, that's probably why no one's buying them. What about an AMD side? What can you get on AMD? Nothing?
Occasionally 6700s for $1,300.
Oh my god.
There's 6800s.
Yeah, you're fucked. If you're trying to upgrade, you're pretty much fucked. You're gonna have to.
You have to buy pre-made. Like that's actually the only way right now is buying pre-made.
To even get it, yeah, to even get one, and you're gonna have to do a lot of work still. Maybe even more so. I haven't even looked because since I got mine, I stopped looking, but because I still wanted to get a Founders Edition, one, and I just like, you know what, I'll just wait until they kind of open up. And then, yeah, they just haven't been. They're not going to anytime soon. If they start opening up by December, then you're going to get hit with a December Christmas sort of thing. It's just like, it's going to be a long time before like you can just go to a store and get one, which is unfortunate. Who knows like what the next sort of like release cycles are going to be? Are they going to delay those? I would imagine they probably should. But if they do, then it's just going to exacerbate, I think, those issues. I don't know. Maybe it opens up more stock, or maybe you'll see a flood of like those cards, and then those are shorted out. It's all
They'll
kind
be
of
shorted
fucked up.
for a long time.
Yeah.
Right now, basically, the way all of the markets are is whether you're trying to be a console gamer or a PC gamer, whatever. A fucking M1 Mac Mini for $600 is probably your best gaming value bet.
True. And honestly,
because it's not good at gaming.
Well, in terms of tech, I haven't really been excited about any new releases other than those M1 products, other than the Apple products. Nothing has really, you can't get your hands on any new GPUs. All the new chips are kind of just like, all right, you're just getting a little bit more power, but you're not really sacrificing. I mean, the new Intel stuff we're going to talk about, they're not really adding much in terms of like power efficiency. It seems like they left out battery life on all of their mobile chips. Like they just left that info out altogether.
They still haven't been able to fully do a nanometer shift. They're still mostly stuck at high nanometers, which is high power usage, and they're just pumping more power to get performance.
Yeah, it's just fascinating, kind of where we're at. Kind of sucks because the years before that were flying, man. Like new releases all the time, new shit all the time. Everything was awesome. Even the camera industry was on fire. Everything was just like boom, 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 and then it's just drought. You know, it's hard to find anything to even talk about. And then we're in the middle of like a console, new console sort of like thing where it's like, this is kind of where the console droughts come in just naturally as they try to ramp up for the next gen. It's just like, you know, it's just, you're just going to be playing those old classics that you love for a little bit. That's just how it's going to be.
Yep.
All right, moving on. Speaking of which, you can get a Stadia. If you guys want to play some Stadia, let's take a look at Stadia. Let's see if there's anything new from Stadia. Stadia's been around for how long now? Has it been 2 years yet? I don't know what time is anymore.
I think it's like a year and a half.
I don't know. When was Stadia?
I know they keep sending me free controllers and Chromecasts, so there you go.
2019 it was released. So, yeah. We're getting up there. And PlayStadia.com. So when Stadia was released, there was a few titles, Destiny 2 being the big one. And if we go to their store, let's see, is there anything has changed? Oh, you could play Village. Okay, you could play Village. Destiny 2 is still the highlight. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is still the highlight. You could play Street Power Football for $30. Dirt 5 for $80.
No one would get me to play Stadia? Now that you're talking about Resident Evil Village again, Stadia should just become Blockbuster, just like it's on YouTube.
Just rent them.
Hey, can I rent this game for 48 hours, $5?
Yeah. You know what? You should fucking.
I would totally fucking do that often.
You should contact Stadia and tell them that you want to work for them because that's a great idea.
Like,
it's actually a great idea.
There's actually probably a huge market there of just like, yeah, let me just
try a game out for a few bucks.
Yeah,
what if it was like
rent a game for $5-10 for a couple of days?
That's what I was gonna say. What if it was like $9.99 for you get 48 hours? Is that too limited? Too expensive? Too limited? Is it like would that entice you to try some games that like a Resident Evil? Because I'd imagine that's kind of what the pricing would be. Maybe for like $70 games, it's like, yeah.
Because like, I mean, like, especially like Resident Evil, I'm probably never gonna fucking buy that game, but sure, I'd rent it for $5-10.
Yeah. Cyberpunk again, of course. Sekiro. Oh, so there's some games on here now. They're just, you just kind of have to have the, well, if you have the Pro Pass, then you don't get Sekiro or Cyberpunk. Let's see, Stadia Pro. Because the Stadia Pro is really kind of what sells it, I think. And there's really nothing on it. You can play SpongeBob. You can play not Path Player Unknown Battlegrounds, which is already a free game. You could play Hitman. Okay, well, their Stadia Pro Pass is not good. Okay, Resident Evil 7 is on there. And Little Nightmares 2 and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Hitman. And that's about it. That's not very good. And then everything else. So Cyberpunk you have to buy. Security you have to buy. $60, right? These aren't on sale games. Marvel Avengers. The new Destinies, the Assassin's Creeds, Resident Evil Village. That's pretty much it. So, anyways, there's an article, Game Industry Biz. Google says Stadia is alive and well. Developer marketing lead Nate Ahern and two Stadia Maker studios offer insight into the status of the cloud gaming service. So there's been a lot of moving around in the company also. They lost a lot of people. In doing so, Google lost key talent like former EA and Ubisoft producer Jade Raymond, who has since received investment from PlayStation for her new venture, Haven Studios. All went quiet until earlier this month when Stadia's head of product, John Justice, resigned, and 6 members of staff went to join Raymond at Haven. Given the mixed reception at launch, previous complaints around lack of updates about the service, blah, blah, blah. And then here from Nate says, it's alive and well. We're well on our way to over 100 new games launching on Stadia in 2021. And see, they need to I know they're saying this because they're talking to this media outlet, but they need to be like what? You know what I mean? Continue to make Stadia a great place to play games on a device you already own. I tell any non-believers to take notice of how we're continuing to put our words into action as we grow the Stadia Makers program and partner with AAA studios like Capcom, EA, Square Enix, Ubisoft, and others. So, yeah, well, I mean, I guess Stadia is still living on. What's nice about Stadia now, they really need to kind of do a marketing push because you can play these AAA titles on PC without the new cards. You know what I mean? Like, that service does work. It's no longer a matter of, if it works. It does work. It's not the best. You're not getting, it's not 100% native, but it fucking works. You can play Destiny 2 on there, and if you have a stable internet connection, it works. You can play these new titles. It was one of the best ways to play Cyberpunk when that game was first released. So at least the service does work. It's just a matter of getting people to pay the exorbitant prices that they're asking for this. You know what I mean? Which is tough. I don't know how Stadia. They're just gonna have to start spending a lot more money. I don't think the idea of paying for Stadia and then paying for a game to stream on it is the best model, and I think that's proving to be true, but we'll see kind of how this goes on. Because when you play it on an iPad, with the Amazon Luna, and you get a controller and you play it on an iPad, it's fucking cool being able to play Control with fucking ray tracing on an iPad and stuff like that. That's a really cool new world of gaming that we haven't seen yet. It's just a matter of can they work the pricing out? At least with Luna, they have some good titles on there, and I don't know. It's just a battle right now. So we'll see. We'll kind of keep updated on what's going on with Stadia. I'm very interested in cloud gaming. I do think essentially that's kind of where everything's gonna go. We don't even need to worry about graphics cards. Let's see if there's anything new on Luna. Let's take a look, which is Amazon's competitor. Nothing much, really. Nothing much. It's all the same stuff from when they first released. But see, they have I think they have a pretty good. They have all the Ubisoft stuff. They have the Surge, Control. They have some cool indie titles. I don't know. All right, moving on. All right, have you guys seen what was going on with the Apple Epic lawsuit and the talk about a naked banana? So.
Nah, but I've been seeing a ton of talk about Roblox versus Apple.
Oh, really? I don't know about that. Was it about Robux or whatever? I would imagine.
No, it was a long time ago. Apple said Roblox didn't make games, and they finally agreed that, oh yeah, we probably don't actually make games.
Epic and Apple are now fighting over a naked banana. So in the center of a huge lawsuit between Apple and Epic, the trial's 6th day began with testimony from Matthew Wessinger, Epic's VP of Marketing, and Apple used its cross-examination to offer the court an exhaustive tutorial on Fortnite, beginning with its title screen and one of its skins, hence the banana. So as the trial for Epic entered the second week, both parties took a break from the antitrust law to argue over whether bananas should wear clothes in court. Apple attorney, we have in front of us a new set of images. And what is this on the screen showing? You can see here. Wessinger, this is your matchmaking lobby. And we have a large yellow banana here, don't we? In a tuxedo. Yes, that is Peely. Attorney. And that's Peely, did you say? Yes. And in fact, in the tuxedo, he's known as Agent Peely, correct? That's correct. We thought it might be better to go with a suit than a naked banana since we are in federal court this morning. Peely's nightmarish existence is barely related to Apple's case, and the naked banana comment would probably be passed over as a throwaway joke. But for one very important fact, Apple slammed Epic last week by claiming it hosted porn. On Friday, an Apple attorney went after indie storefront itch.io, where Epic lets users install through Epic Game Store. The attorney noted that itch.io included so-called adult games whose descriptions were not appropriate for us to speak in federal courts, calling them both offensive and sexualized. Epic Game Store manager Stephen Allison defended itch.io, but the exchange may have stung Epic, or at least that's the best explanation I can imagine for what happened hours later when Epic's attorney decided to revisit Peely during her own questioning of Wessinger. Epic attorney, a little bit of digression. We talked about Peely, our banana. Remember that? I do. And there might have been an implication that to show Peely without a suit would be inappropriate. Did you recall that? Yes. Is there anything inappropriate about Peely without a suit? Wessinger, no. If we could just put if we could just put on the screen a picture of Peely, is there anything inappropriate about Peely without clothes? Wessinger, it's just a banana. So if you put a suit on a banana, right? It's not inappropriate. But of course, if you take the suit off the banana, is it a naked banana? Or is it just a banana? And I think that is the heart of matter of law in the United States. Those are the questions that we need to be asking in, IP and court cases. If you have a suit on a banana, of course that's not inappropriate. But if you take the suit off of a banana, is it a naked banana or is it just a banana?
It's just a banana because while I'm here looking it up, Fortnite had a Epic Summer Legends pack where you had unpeely, where the banana was peeled, and that's the naked banana.
Oh, so if you peeled the banana, then the banana is in fact naked because the peel is actually part of its enclosure or its clothes. So you could argue that if you put a suit on if you put a suit on a unpeeled banana, then it's basically wearing two sets of clothes. That's basically what you're saying, right? Because if you took the suit off, it's not a naked banana. It's still wearing its original banana outfit. But if you actually peeled the banana, then in fact, exposing the underneath the creamy center of the banana, that is the actual naked banana. That's fascinating. Wow. I don't know how far this is going to go, and I don't know what these magnificent judges are going to rule on in the court of. Is an unsheathed banana actually naked, or is it just a banana? I don't know. These are questions that I think only a court case about storefronts and IP can answer. To be honest, I think that's where we're gonna get our answer. Because I also, I don't mean to be crass here, but a banana is just generally a phallic looking fruit. It is the most phallic looking fruit. I don't think there's a more phallic looking fruit than a banana, right?
Yeah,
it's the most phallic.
Still a banana.
It is.
So I get their.
It is just a banana.
It's a fucking banana.
It is. It is just a banana. Despite if you put eyes and a mouth on it, it's not. You put eyes and a mouth on a snowman, it doesn't become a real man. It's still made of snow. This is fascinating. All right, well, there you go. I wanted to talk about that because that's actually what happened in the court. I'm not trolling here. Also, in terms of Apple,
it is always an Apple court case that you just
the real questions get answered. Yes, I know.
Oh yeah. Not the weirdest random fucking shit that could win a case comes up. It's just it is, yeah. We're actually having a discussion over a fucking banana.
Maybe that's how they win all their court cases. They just try to defer to the most odd, most insane arguments. And it's all right, we need to go back to this banana question here, and that's what the courts really want to know.
It just reminds me of the old South Park. This was an old South Park episode with the chef arguing about his songs. They hired Johnny Cochran. This is a Wookiee. It comes from the planet of Endo.
Yeah.
But there are Ewoks on this planet. Does that make any sense? What does this have to do with anything?
Yeah. Lawyers, man. It's an interesting world. And speaking of Apple, So they hired this Facebook lead and then immediately fired him after everyone in the company basically kind of went on Twitter and ranted about it. A group of Apple employees has written a petition asking for the investigation into the hiring of Antonio Garcia Martinez, a former Facebook product manager and author of the book Chaos Monkeys. In the petition, the employees expressed concern about Garcia's Martinez's views on women and people of color. His hiring calls into question parts of our system of inclusion at Apple, including hiring panels, background checks, and our process to ensure our existing culture of inclusion is strong enough to withstand individuals who don't share our inclusion values, they write. More than 2,000 employees signed the letter prior to the publication of The Verge. Garcia Martinez, who also written for Wired, was the product manager for Facebook's ad targeting team from 2011 to 2013. Most of the things the Apple employees have expressed concern come from the Chaos Monkeys book itself, where he describes the book as a Hunter S. Thompson Gonzo mode, but in the book he says a screenshot from the book has been circulated on Twitter, calls women in the Bay Area, quote, soft and weak, cosseted and naive despite their claims of worldliness and generally full of shit. And then obviously a lot of women who work at Apple were like, all right, we can't have this guy here. And they got him pretty much immediately removed. And I find this interesting because you don't really see too much of this from Apple, right? We've seen a lot of this kind of, I guess, I don't know how to put it, but we see a lot of this stuff coming from a lot of these Silicon Valley companies. Like a lot of the stuff that has been going on around Coinbase and then Shopify. I mean, there's been a lot of like Silicon Valley sort of like, I don't know, I wouldn't call it activism, but it's more of, I don't know, civil debate, I guess, around, inclusion. You don't really see this stuff coming from Apple, but here it is. Now we're starting to see it, so we can see like, no one is immune to this type of, no one is immune to this type of criticism or this type of, I can't think of the word. I guess criticism is the best way to put it, but there you go. Yeah. Can't be writing stuff in a book and then expect to not be fired, I guess. That's kind of what's going to go on. So there you go. And that's pretty much all I have. And then I have this video, if you guys have seen, where Intel ISL posted this like new tech that they're working on with AI. And they kind of utilized, I guess, a bunch of like dash cam footage to superimpose on GTA 5 to make it like photo real. And it looks really interesting because it does a great job. And the video is really kind of intricate and it goes through a lot of like the weird tech involved. But you look at like the final result and you realize like, wow, we're actually really not that far off from like photorealistic gaming, like legit like photo real gaming. Because you can see here, a lot of it has to do with just like the way that the colors are displayed, the way that the lighting kind of reacts. And that's basically it. And if we can figure out a way to just like shove a bunch of data into a machine learning thing and just allow it to kind of like, cross-examine for each frame that the game is running on, you can get photorealistic results. It's really incredible, and it's crazy how much of a difference it makes in the final image. And you can see like they're using state-of-the-art tech on the other side, and then they're showing off their tech, and you can see it's like it's not even close. Like their stuff is like working pretty well. So we're really not that far off from like a pretty insane jump in graphic displays, which is pretty cool. Now hopefully we can actually see it in GTA 6 when that comes out, because I mean that game lives on making shit look real, you know what I mean? You can see here like people are like, oh, it's just adding a green cast. It's really not. It's everything. Like it looks like you're looking at dash cam footage, which is nuts. And then you can see here in the city as well, just kind of the way like it's just, I mean, it looks fucking awesome. It looks really cool. And that's it. And if you're listening to this, you should go watch the video podcast, because you're not gonna know what the fuck we're talking about unless you see it. I mean, look at that. That looks insane. Even the people, I don't know how they do this stuff.
I'm gonna be honest.
People are so smart.
I kind of don't want it to go fully photorealistic. Well,
some will, some won't. You know what I mean? There's always going to be artistic representation, I guess.
True, but like if I'm thinking like games like GTA, anything with
I think games like GTA should go
mechanics like that,
photoreal, to be
I
honest.
no, you think you do, but you don't. To use that Blizzard quote. Do you really want to be shooting in the fucking sunlight like it's like real life outside? Hell no, dude. You want to actually be able to see what the fuck you're doing in a game like that.
I don't know. I don't know. It really depends. It really depends. Because I don't know. I like how you can kind of lose yourself in GTA a little bit. It's kind, it's kind of got like we're talking about GTA 5 versus GTA 4. It's like it kind of gets a little bit wacky when you kind of just you go full action mode. I kind of like it a little bit more grounded. But I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying, 100%. Like you can definitely see here, it's like a lot shadier, and like the noontime cast makes it pretty difficult to see in like darker areas for sure.
Yeah, like if you start getting too realistic, like it has all of the problems of real life of like that's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun to try to steal a car in the broad daylight with glare on you, then getting shot from someone in the shade you can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that
see
sounds
what you mean.
amazing.
Yeah. But also like for like a fucking like a shooting, like a war simulator or something, like that could be really cool. You know what I mean? Like there's some applications where like you definitely can work, like racing games, like obviously like the sun in your eyes is a problem, but that actually what makes a lot of like racing sims.
Yeah, more sim style games like that. I totally agree that that would be really sick. But I feel like there's going to be we're gonna hit a wall where there's going to be that disconnect where it's going to be like this makes the mechanics of the game worse.
Yeah. No, I 100% know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Where like that's what some things I do worry about with that. Where it'll be a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, but it'll also be frustrating when
you can't see.
want to. Yeah, I'm trying to play a game to relieve stress after work, and it's just real life again.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's crazy how like it's crazy how close it's getting. Like, we just see it every year. It's just more and more insane how closely they're resembling real life. And then when you kind of think about like just VR in general and kind of like the advancements that can bring to that stuff, like we can start to make some like actual VR worlds, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, like yeah,
still a ways away, but that's pretty insane that we're not that far away.
Yeah, especially with like ray tracing, things like that. Like I think there's a lot of cool places where that could be really cool, but I'm worried about its overuse. Like, just because it's gonna, I don't know, it's gonna be too weird. It's gonna make some games like
it'll be easy too, like you want to make your game look photoreal, it's gonna be like press a button and then all of the lighting just shifts to like real mode. It's like, yeah, it's gonna be enticing for a lot of game developers to let's just make it look real, as opposed to like let's actually add like an art to it, make it have some sort of like artistic vibe to it.
And I think that some of the art's really important because a lot of games that I enjoy the most, like, I mean, I still play fucking WoW. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a really shitty art, like, game. You know what I mean? But like, it's got its own character because I'm playing video games for fun and as a way of sort of disconnecting rather than, yeah, I want GTA to be real life, or you know what I mean?
Escape from the real world into the real world.
Yeah, like that's my biggest worry is people taking it too far of like and there's a lot of games where it could be cool. Like imagine that in Assassin's Creed, that could be fun as shit. You know what I mean? That would be that'd be an amazing franchise to try to take like a real world aesthetic and like have those mechanical issues I was talking about, like real sunlight and things like that. That would be sick.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot where I'm not trying to play a roguelike in that. I'm not trying to play Diablo 5 with real graphics. Like, not that they would, but I'm definitely worried like we're just gonna see like a lot of weird crossovers that's gonna like just not fit.
Yeah. No, it's a good point to bring up. Yeah. It's definitely going to be something to think about.
It'll just be there'll be a learning curve with it.
It's going to be a point where it's going to be
That's the hope.
easier to make it photoreal than actually create like an artistic looking, that's where the issue is going to come into play. Because some games are going to be using that photoreal when it probably they should just like develop their own like lighting system and their, their own like global illumination, like their own graphical, like artistic look to the game rather than just like, let's make everything just look real. Because it's cheaper and easier, which is crazy to think about that'll be one day cheaper to do than hiring a team of designers,
Yeah, that's still quite a ways away, so I'm not that worried about it. Hopefully it'll be figured out by then, but like, no, that would be like my worry is like, I feel like that's a more niche game than you want, and my worry would be people trying to use it too much.
Mm-hmm.
Which hopefully won't happen, and that won't happen for a long time. I just never want to play a shooter like that. Like, ever. That just doesn't sound fun.
All right, let's wrap it up. That's it. You guys have anything else? I don't think there's anything else. It's a slow tech and news. There was a new Fuji, wasn't there?
No.
I thought there was.
Oh, the SL2 apparently has really good autofocus now.
Oh, okay.
If you want to buy Leica, it's apparently competitive with Canon and Sony now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I doubt it, but hey, you can finally have use for L lenses, and then you can go buy your new Leica lens that's literally a Sigma lens made by Sigma.
This is what happens every year, right before E3. Like, we're about less than a month away from E3. News is just being held tightly until next month.
Yeah.
The only fun thing I can add is you can't buy Pokemon cards at Target anymore.
Yeah.
Why?
That's a whole thing.
What do you mean that's a whole thing?
Pokemon cards, a lot of cards in general are just skyrocketing in value. Magic cards are skyrocketing.
You could only get them at Target before or something?
There's been, because of the pandemic and because of social media influencers,
people have been collecting cards. People
are not just collecting cards again, but they're paying crazy prices, and there's more theft happening. And
right.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard from other people that have seen it, like people going into like Walmart to try to buy Pokemon cards, and they're telling them you can only buy 2 packs, and then they're trying to get other people to buy it for them, or they're going full Karen. So they're just not dealing with it anymore. They're like, we're not going to carry these.
It's a false market.
Yep.
Because really the only cards that it's all bets. People are trying to buy them to hope in 10 years they'll have value. Because right now, cards from 10 years ago have a much higher value now because of Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, who cares? I don't know. People, it's yeah.
So Target's not selling?
90% of the people who are going to these lengths to get all of these brand new Pokemon cards are going to forget they have them in 10 years.
Yeah. Just wasting their money. I thought that whole craze was over.
Like I said,
I mean, it was popular like a few months ago.
There's been a lot of people, especially with like the fad of like opening up Pokemon cards on stream and trying to get like, the rare cards and then selling them on eBay. You feel like that, like it
flooding
the market. It was a big thing, but it's come back around.
Yeah. I mean, it was a really hot thing on Twitch for a while, but it's also like...
That's what I'm saying. Like a while ago, I feel like it was pretty popular.
It was a couple months ago. Yeah, it's been a while, but that's why I'm surprised like people are still trying to buy new ones, because it's like, dude, like the most recent one that had any value that I ever saw was like...
Aren't they like first edition ones? Like you're not going to be able to... Yeah, you're not gonna be able to buy new.
It's all like the first 5-6 boxes. You
know
what I mean, it's up to silver at most.
Yeah, if you go to Target and you buy Pokemon cards, they're not gonna be worth anything.
But no one cares about Pokemon Sword and Shield cards.
Yeah,
no one.
That's what's confusing.
Same.
And like Magic is like maybe, I don't know about Magic. Magic's a little different.
A little bit of value.
Oh! I saw this video, by the way, of Chris Wilson, the head of Triple G, Path of Exile. he has this the most insane collection of Magic cards. Like it's got to be worth like so much money. If you're interested, I don't remember. See if I can find the video.
He's a huge Magic nerd.
Oh my god! I was looking at his collection, and they're all like misprints and like the rarest cards you can get. And he's like got this whole fucking, here it is. It's called some of the most bizarre Magic the Gathering misprints in history, and it's his collection, and it's insane.
Yeah, like no, okay. The dude's a pretty cool dude, but like I don't think you were super into it then. But the one time now that because then a pandemic happened, that they had Exile Con, they literally tried to make their own Magic the card system for people to play in, like at the con.
Oh really?
Or you got a set of cards, and then you would try to put them together to go up to various employees who would be like wearing shirts that had like what their value is.
Yeah.
And you would have to like.
Oh, I remember this.
Get a different set of cards back to go try to beat a different employee, etc., and work your way up.
Yeah.
Like that, it's cool, but like, yeah, no, they're definitely giant Magic nerds.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching a stream and like they put this on. I was like, oh my god, like these are cool. Like the misprints, like. You're just, the cards like literally like one of ones that you'll just never get. These are so cool. And I feel like those are really the only ones worth any value. Anyone buying like, you're just going to go to Target and buy like a booster pack. That's not going to be worth anything. That's insane. I don't know about Magic though. Are they, like, can you buy a pack of Magic and like get a card that's worth a lot of money? I don't know. I know that's not the same for Pokemon because it's really all first edition stuff. But I don't know how that is for Magic.
I think you can with Magic, but it's still hard.
Yeah, I don't know what like I know nothing about Magic. My neighbor, who was a good friend of mine, collected Magic cards, and I always thought it was like the fucking corniest thing ever. But I'm sure he's probably has like a good amount of money now.
Like Magic, you still can because there's like an actually evolving meta that matters. So like new cards do matter, but. Still not on a scale of like
a first edition
gen, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The collecting stuff is always interesting. I always think it's fun.
People were paying $70,000 for a fucking box of Pokemon cards.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Well, collecting stuff is cool though. Like I think like those kind of like secondary markets are always fascinating. It's just a matter of like, are you getting the one that's getting shafted? Are you the one that's driving the value up? Or are you just like, you know what I mean? Or are you playing the games? Like if you're not spending like thousands of dollars on this stuff, then you're really not doing much collecting. All right.
I mean, you are, because in my opinion, you can be, because all of it's a really, I don't know. Honestly, I feel like a lot of card collecting and collecting in that sense is just a fucking scam.
Well, I think the only ones that are really worth any, I mean, if you want to make a couple $100, maybe you can buy a booster pack and maybe one day that's going to be worth a little bit. But it's like, if you really want to have a good collection, like you have to go and, buy from someone that has a first edition, you know what I mean? Like you have to do the whole collection. That's how it's always been with like baseball cards and like fucking any sort of collectibles. Like,
I mean,
there's only a certain amount that are actually worth any money.
Well, it's that, but then it's the way that the value is prescribed to these specific cards of like rarity, where it's just like, sure, you can say this thing's a PSA 10 and there's only 10 of them, so I think it's worth $120,000. No one's gonna ever fucking buy it.
Yeah.
So is it actually worth $120,000? No.
Well, until someone buys it, I mean, that's kind of how the Pokemon market kind of exploded.
Right, like that's
they kind of just were like, we'll just price it here, and then I guess they're worth this now, Yeah,
like that's why I say it's a scam, kind of, just because it's like, no, they really don't have a value unless you find the one specific person who's got more money than smarts.
Yeah,
like that's your value. That's your value game. That's what you're betting on, and it's just like, who cares?
Yeah, the whole card collecting thing is very interesting. Like this, all right, here I looked up on eBay the most expensive Magic cards. This is the Ruby Alpha Mox Ruby BGS 9.5 Gem Mint Magic Walk T card, $47,000. Why, you ask? I have no idea. Is there one of these fucking Mox Rubies? Now, this would be fascinating, right? This is what I think would be cool, but this is usually never how it works. If there was one card, like in the game, that one person could have, like the whole meta thing, I think kind of ruins the collecting of it all. You know what I mean? Like you have to have like a certain meta deck that is, competition viable. But I think it's cool. It's like if one person owned like this super powerful card, then I could see that kind of being cool. But it's like the reason this is probably valuable is just because I don't know. Maybe they can't use them in the game anymore, or like this was just like a one-off print or something like that. It's like nothing to do with the actual game being played, I don't think.
I mean, it's a scarcity holds value thing, which I get, but it's just like, I don't know. At least in my brain, I can never conceive a piece of cardboard being worth more than like $50.
Yeah, you wouldn't pay $47,000 for a Mox Ruby?
Nope.
What about $20,000 for a Lily Trainer Pokemon TG Sun and Moon Ultra Prism? 9
It's
people
funny when
viewed.
these cards get banned in competitive too.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's stupid. I think that's what's stupid about it. Like if you could use them in the game and there was one, right? Some guy had that one card that was like OP. Then I can see the value of being a lot more closer to what the actual use case is. But it's like a lot of these cards, you can't even use them.
Most of them are just collectors.
That raise the value, but then it's if you're trying to make a competitive game, which they have tried, they have championships for still, et cetera, like you can't have a competition with that.
Right, but I think that's more of a fault of the game. You know what I mean? Maybe if it wasn't like, I don't know, maybe it did some weird thing that was like OP, but also like there was counters too that you had to like build a whole deck around. I don't know. I feel like that's something that I would be more interested in rather than just like here's a card that just there's 5 of them. You can't use them or anything, but they only made 5 of these cards.
So now they're worth more than a BMW M5.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's fucking insane.
Like that's more my issue with it. It's just like if you're willing to go to that extent and you can find a buyer, then like hey, power to you. But like,
it's a $10,000 Charizard.
Yeah, like or like
Shadowless.
Yeah, that's $100,000 or whatever. It's like dude, if I can buy a house for the price of a cardboard card, it's not actually worth that.
Yeah, look, they're selling like new packs of Pokemon cards. Sword and Shield Battle Styles, $125. Ships Monday for a whole box. Wow, what a scam. Like none of these cards are going to be worth anything. That's normal
pricing.
None of these cards are going to be worth anything.
More normal pricing. Boxes were always like expensive as shit. It's like crazy. I mean that's a markup, but that's not like an insane markup.
Yeah, true. No, yeah, it looks about regular pricing.
It's like you're buying a
you can still buy. Yeah, Magic has like new packs. Man, that's crazy. What other card collecting games are there? Pokemon and Magic is the only ones I know. Is there any other ones? Digimon? Do they do cards?
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh still, I guess.
Oh yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh. Let's look.
I think card games are a lot of fun. They're really cool, and I like the idea of collecting them. I just don't understand the idea of their having any intrinsic value. That's where I just don't understand.
This 2002 Yu-Gi-Oh! LOB Blue Eyes White Dragon SDK PSA 10 Gem Mint. Guess how much? $300,000. $300,000. Why, you ask? I couldn't tell you. Let's see the description here. We don't know. Who the fuck knows?
Is that the valuation or has someone paid that?
That is the valuation. But there was 11 views in the last hour.
And how many people have ever purchased that card?
I don't know. Let's see. Let me see if I can find out if that's like an actual price.
Because PSA will usually list what previous have sold for if they can.
I don't know how to look that up. One sold. Yeah, I guess that's the price. There's another one selling for $250,000. This Yu-Gi-Oh! Blue Eyes White Dragon is Gem Min is selling for 160,000. Oh my god, Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards are super expensive.
And
Yeah,
that's
they are.
my other thing about it, where it's just like, all right, so you have the same thing, and its valuation is anywhere from 160 to $300,000. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep.
How do I see like the last price? Oh, this is LOB number 1. So maybe this is like the first print? Is that what that means? LOB001. That's pretty cool. Like if you got the first ever fucking print, I can see that being pretty cool. This guy says not actually looking to sell this. Okay. He just wants to show everyone that, yeah, I got a $250,000 card. Okay. Yeah, let me see if I can look this up. Hold on. Yeah, there's got to be PSA graded I guess blue-eyed white dragon, right?
I used to know someone who would, he took a Raspberry Pi, attached a scale to it and a battery bank, and he would go and he would take packages and weigh them down to like the microgram to tell which packs had shinies in them.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
I'm still positive that that dude has spent more money on his Raspberry Pi setup than he has ever made from cards.
I mean, I have no idea how to look this up. You can look up the last price sold. I just don't know how to do it. Oh, well. We'll figure that out one day. There's got to be like a... I don't know. There's probably a way to do it. I just don't know how to do it. They're selling, though. Like, there are some that are selling for like thousands of dollars. Not hundreds of thousands, though. I haven't found any that are like that. That's crazy. All right. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace, peace.